Welcome back to Autism at Home, brought to you by us at Early Autism Project Malaysia through our non-profit initiative, The Hope Project. My name is Jochebet Isaacs and it's so nice to see you again. And I'm here today with Yu Chen, one of our senior supervisors at EAP.
Welcome to our 20th series on Autism at Home entitled Community Trips. It is very important that individuals with autism and their families are able to enjoy a meaningful quality of life, and this includes being able to participate in community trips and outings just like everybody else.
We hope that this series will cover the potentially challenging behaviours in the community, as well as the why behind some of these behaviours and the strategies that will always be preventative, teaching, as well as reactive strategies. And then finally, of course, specific to the core community trips such as eating out, grocery shopping, going to the mall, going to the playground, following which we're talking about going to the cinema, the doctors, and finally the dentist.
So, let's take a look at what are potential challenging behaviors that occur in the community. For ease of reference, we have color-coded these below. Typically, individuals with autism may have challenging behaviors that are milder or slightly easier to manage, such as sensory-related behaviors of covering their ears, eyes, refusal to move, touching items or grabbing, perhaps meltdowns and tantrums. We would consider these code yellow, but of course, the older the child is, he or she is bigger physically as well. And then, dissimilar scenarios may be a lot more challenging to manage. For example, a 20-year-old adult with autism versus a 2-year-old child with autism having a meltdown.
Then we move to code red and even code black, which are essentially dangerous and safety-related challenging behaviors. These include children who may potentially wander off or even dash off, maybe be self-injurious or aggressive to others or property, and then dangerous behaviors such as climbing high places and maybe jumping off, diving off, even jumping off escalators, any type of violent or dangerous behaviors that could hurt themselves or other people. Code black then is when a child or an individual goes missing.
So now that we have identified broad categories of challenging behaviors, we need to ask ourselves why. Why do these behaviors occur, and how can we help individuals with autism and their families be successful in the community?
So to do this, Yu Chen, we actually need to recap again our understanding of the challenges that come with autism. Firstly, autism is a spectrum disorder, and that means that some children are affected much more severely than others. Secondly is the developmental gap between a child's physical age and their developmental age or mental understanding. When a child is very young, the developmental gap is also smaller. But if they do not receive the intensive early intervention required, they may maintain the same mental age but grow physically older and bigger, making it more difficult to manage their challenging behaviors, particularly in the community.
Yes, definitely, which is why the urgency with good quality intensive early intervention would really encourage you parents watching to do the therapy at home on your own if you are unable to access good quality services wherever you are.
Then we need to remember that according to the DSM-5, autism is defined by two broad categories of symptoms. Firstly, the whole area of deficit and delay in social communication, meaning individuals with autism may struggle with communication, speaking, and understanding others, as well as to understand basic social expectations. Cooperating and following instructions can be very difficult for individuals with autism, especially if they have not received any therapy.
Then the second category of core autism symptoms is in that area of restricted and repetitive behaviors, and this includes self-stimulatory behaviors, rigidities and inflexibilities, as well as obsessive interest and, of course, not forgetting tolerance-related areas.
So let's take a look at that again in a summary table. An individual with autism may struggle due to their autism in the following two areas according to the DSM-5. Category A, deficits in social communication. Difficulty communicating. The child may not understand what is happening and may not be able to communicate their own needs. In the area of a lack of understanding expectations, the child may have difficulty understanding social expectations and concepts like safe and dangerous, personal space, even the concept of buying and money. What about difficulty in cooperation? This includes difficulty in listening and following parents' instructions. Then in category B, restricted and repetitive behaviours, there are sensory-related areas such as difficulty with the bright lights, sounds, smells, new places and crowds. And then in the area of inflexibilities and specific interests, a child may find it difficult to cope with areas like waiting or changes, maybe parents saying no. Then what about obsessive interest in certain items or people, resulting in children dashing to get the item or grabbing? Then there's also self-stimulatory behavior such as hand flapping, licking, spinning, walking on tiptoes, spinning, verbal stimming, etc. And please note that this is just an adaptation from the DSM-5 list of symptoms and not conclusive to the diagnostic criteria.
Therefore, in order to successfully prepare a child with autism, we need to look at supporting each child in the following areas: cooperation, flexibility, ability to tolerate, two-way communication, and teach actual expectations.
We would strongly encourage all parents to go through our Starter Kit series, which is Unit 1 to 5, which will teach you the basics of teaching a child with autism, managing challenging behaviors, teaching cooperation, setting your home up, and some basics of communication as well, particularly two-way communication.
And of course, then to go back and watch Unit 7 on building flexibility, where you can teach your child how to wait, be successful at transitions, cope with changes, and even accepting no. Unit 10 on following instructions. Unit 14 on safety, especially the third video on wandering, which is how children can go missing, and the fifth video called Safety in the Community through a program called Stay With Me. And Unit 15 on building tolerance, especially on tolerating crowds and new places.
And so now it is your turn. Firstly, identify the challenging behaviors your child presents in the community and categorize it to the color coding we just did earlier. Is it more code yellow, code red, or have there even been code black incidences as well? Secondly, identify why your child is having those behaviors and what are the skills that you need to teach your child. Thirdly, using the previous Autism at Home videos, please do start to teach your child those basic skills, especially in the areas of cooperation, following instructions, flexibility, tolerance, and safety.
So that's it, a general introduction to community trips. In the next lesson, we will be talking all about dining out and how to make your child as successful as they can be. Thank you for your support, and with the amount of interest we have received online, we have actually started providing online services and currently work with clients in other states of Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, Switzerland, Indonesia, China, and Brunei as well. So do scan this QR code and get in touch with us for more information.
And if you haven't already, do check out our free online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the corresponding articles and downloadables for you. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay updated. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.